Okay, welcome back to the garage. It's been a couple of days, I had the weekend off. Today I'm going to try and hook this up to the air and just test it, if I can get it to work. I'll put it in the vise. Yesterday, not yesterday, when was it? Friday, I went and bought this. What you see here is over $300 worth of air fittings. I shit you not. And most of that, not that there because they're steel, they're stainless, but those fittings there, these ones here were about $9 each. Was it these ones? These were $9 each, and that's the quarter. The 8th BSP were about $8 each. So it looked pretty. But I'm going to hook these up. Now I had a thought, something you think about when you're laying in bed and you can't sleep. I tried these the other day, and when you put the air in one side, it constantly comes out of one fitting. I think it's that one. So I thought, it's going to be hard because I only need one circuit. But I thought, rather than feed the air in this side, I'm going to test it, I'm going to try it, I don't know if it'll work, but feed in this way, so it'll be blocked. So when you activate it, it'll come out the back port. Should work. Should work. And I'm going to have to do the same with this one. This one will be fine, because I only need one activation circuit. Although I don't know where the exhaust is going to go on this one. Feed in, feed out. Oh yeah, I know, it can't exhaust. I can exhaust through the other side. It doesn't. So there, if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to buy a couple of quick exhausts, which will fit up here. That's fine. I think they're about $14 each for quick exhaust. Well, this doesn't have exhaust in it. It's got nowhere for the air to go. So I'll hook it up and try and see what happens. But yeah, there's the difference between, you know, buying, well, they're ones I got with but they got the plastic fittings, the stainless fittings, but plastic inserts. These are all stainless, and they gave me the wrong. That's fucking no, they gave me no. They're all right. I thought it gave me one wrong one. That's all good. So let me just fiddle with this for a few minutes, and then we'll bring you back and have a sticky beat. Righto. Now, hang on, let me turn this noisy fucking thing off. I've got it hooked up. An upside is, the way I said it here, that will work, which is good. That will operate it. But I can't operate it without quick exhaust. Because as I said, this has got no exhaust to let it out. So I've ordered 2 quick exhaust for it. But the problem I have, and it's making me think about a total redesign, is it will not cut much at all. It'll cut a bit of plastic tube. I cut a piece of plastic tube off, but it won't even cut that electrical cable sitting on the ground. I mean, I know I could put 10mm hose on it, and that'll make it act faster, like the stomping, like the momentum might help, but I don't think you can get a whole lot more momentum out of it. You're still going to get the same cutting force with 6mm, it's just it's going to go a little bit slower, and it does go relatively quickly. Hang on, let me just hang on 2 seconds. Righto, now I've got the air hooked up, it's just leaking out of this hose here, so it's not hooked properly, but this is what I mean. You'll hear that working when I push this. That one I've had to block off because otherwise the air is constantly coming out of there. So that's me cylinder up. Okay. Now let me plug that in. Hang on, just sorry for the shitty angle. I just got it right now. Keep an eye on that. This is going to be fun here. Now this is when I activate it. Now you really don't need it a whole lot more momentum than that. It's just not giving me much power. Well, I don't know. I don't know whether it's something. Like I said, I cut a bit of plastic tube, it cut it fine. Although it wouldn't cut it up this end. even though those cutting edges are overlapped. Well, they're not quite overlapped, but I don't think it's gone all the way down. So I'm just pondering. I'll come back in a minute. I'm just going to have a look at something and I'll bring you back. Okay, now what I found was this wasn't coming all the way down, because what I did, I had to machine a bit off this just to stop it, because there was a little bit of a gap there, but I thought it was a little bit too much. So I machined about 3/4 of a mil off that, and it was hitting down the bottom here. So I've just got the flap wheel and taken it out. Now it closes all the way down, and I managed to cut off a piece of wire. Still want to cut the aluminium pipe, but I need to get a bit of copper pipe, because that's not soft aluminium either. That come off like an underbody spray, a car spray, and it's fairly hard shit. So so I've got to try to find a bit of oh, hang on, I've got some aluminium flat bar there that I made like a template for when I was doing that tabletop. Give me a second, I'll just cut some off and see. Okay, I tried it, still wouldn't work. Is it sitting on the floor there? So I'm at a loss now. I don't know what I'm going to do. I could go for 3/8, but look, I've spent so much money on these friggin' fittings, I can't just take them back. And like I said, 1/4 inch should still be enough. It's still going to give me the same cutting force. It's just going to deliver the air slower. It's just be less impact. And I don't really want it to start smashing the thing fucking up and down. So as much work as I've put into this, what I'm contemplating now, I'm going to have to sit down and think about it, is still utilising the pneumatic cylinder, but make a set of shears with rounded, just like cable cutters, and have it like 3:1 ratio. So that's going to give you enough cutting force to cut steel bar. And I'll use this Biz 80. It's just I'll have to take it somewhere. I won't be able to generate enough heat to harden the cutting edges. But I've got a mate that's got an oxy, so I've only got the gas heater, that thing there, LPG, but it takes forever, and I don't know whether I'll be able to heat the whole edge up quick enough to quench it. So I've only got to quench harden the edge where I cut the, hang on, where's the chalk? So what I'll have is like that. Well, not that big either, Jesus. So that'll be the end, that'll be rounded, and I'll have like that. One on each side, so, and then round that off. And have the pivot point about there, and drive it from about there. So it just means I'll have to get a clevis, that's alright, they're not expensive. I'm still going to mount it on a trolley. Just the air cylinder can go underneath instead of on top. It'll still be air activated from the other side of the shears. So I'm going to sit down and think about that for a day or so now. I know this pneumatics will work. It'll work fine once I get the quick exhaust for these, because this is just, you know, sitting there so I can hook it up at the moment. It needs to be prettier than that. Either way, it's going to be covered. It's going to have a mesh cover, so I will contemplate the navel. I've got plenty of Biz 80. I'll probably just have to go and get some more of that, or something smaller actually. I won't need anything quite as big as that now. Or maybe, but it doesn't need to be complicated. I don't need to make it overly complex. Just make it so you can't get your fucking fingers in there. I think, you know, on hindsight now, that shears will probably work better. Yeah, it's just I really don't have the facilities to knock something up quick and test it. When I make it, I've got to make it to work straight up or nothing at all. Otherwise I'm going to do what I've done here. Spent weeks making that only for it to be unsuccessful. But I may still find a use for that. I don't know yet. I just don't know. Yeah, I need to think. Because my problem is I'm usually results driven. And if I can't get something to happen, I lose motivation real fast. So yeah, just let me see. I'm going to think about it. Let me think. I might stand it here, listen to some music and do some drawings on the bench, and I might come back shortly. Righto, it's about 3/4 of an hour later. I've been sitting here and I designed this with CAD, cardboard aided design, and from here to your main cutting point, which is the centre here, from there that's 2.5 to 1. So that's 60, it's 150, and from there to there, which will give you a clean cut, is the 100mm of travel that I have with that cylinder. So that should give me 2.5 times the force of from there to there, or whatever I'm getting per cubic centimetre out of that cylinder. And I don't have the smarts to work it out, so it's a 50mm cylinder at 100 psi. So if somebody wants to work that out, let me know how much force I'm getting at 100 psi out of that ram, and then I can double that. So I think that'll cut better like that, because I've seen people online do it, because I watch a lot of fabrication videos and stuff like that. I find it highly interesting. So and someone will sit there and design stuff by cardboard first, because I mean this will change. I could probably change the diameter of the radius on that somewhat, and just to operate it on the bench. So I've got to get it so it just closes up, and that's where I've got that line there. Actually it's a little bit out, but it's close. And if I go to that line there, that gives me from centre to centre about 100mm. That rule's a bit hard to see, but there we go. And that should be more than big enough. I wanted a minimum 40. So that's 60 across that way, but it's 40 that way. So, you know, if when I cut, say, 1.5 inch copper, I can do it. Or, you know, 2 inch aluminium angle should fit in there. Yeah, I need it to have a bit more force than what it's got. Even with, like I said, with 3/8, I don't want it to slam up and down really fast. I don't want to have it so it slams down just to cut a piece of copper pipe. So the flow that I'm getting out of those 6mm lines should be enough. To be more than enough to give me still going to give me full pressure. It's going to go a little bit slower, and then as it meets any resistance, it'll pressurise and give it more force to push down. So that's the idea behind it. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'm sure somebody will bloody tell me. I mean, I could probably make that a little bit bigger, even if I get it to open that far. I'll do a little bit of measurements anyway, and so I might actually poke that hole in there where the clevis is going to go. I might even make it adjustable. Stick 3 holes there. So we can, if we need to, we can make it open wider. Because this will be flipped over, obviously. The cylinder will be underneath pushing this way. I can't go the other way. Well, I can, but you lose capacity because of the rod. You're always going to get more force on the downstroke than you are the upstroke, so so I think that's what I'm going to do. That will be welded to the table, to the feed table. I'm still going to be able to use some of this. Like I said, there's a lot of work in it, but it is what it is, you know. Like, I'm retired, I can spend the time fucking around playing with this shit. So I think that's what I might do. I'll leave it for today. I'm going to go and get this video off. And just get some, like I said, I've got the Biz 80. I'll just have to go and get myself some a bolt for the pivot. I'll make a clevis. Fuck buying it. Same with the tail end clevis. I'll make it. So I just need a couple of bolts. One for there, one for the tail end clevis. I've got enough steel I can make those. So save spending a fortune on buying them online. And it shouldn't take a whole lot really to change, to make what I want to make, because most of it's going to be made out of Biz. I'll utilise part of that, and I've still got that piece there, and I've got a couple of another piece up there, one little piece on the saw, and me Biz. I've got some round bar there. I don't think that's only mild steel. I don't think that's going to be quite good enough for a hinge for a pivot, because it will wear. I may even weld a boss in where the pivot is, drill it, weld a boss. Oh look, thanks Apple Watch, I've achieved my stand goal. I've been standing for 6 hours. Weld that in, and then so I'll get more of a pivot, so I'll have on both sides, and then I can machine the side flat. You know, that might even work without having to face harden it. Like, it's only going to cut copper and aluminium, so we'll see. We'll see. And I might even weld a stiffener on there. Just stitch it. Put it on either side of the boss. Just the boss only needs to be, you know, probably 25 mil. I've got to stop talking in inches. I've got to say about an inch. I've got to stop talking in inches. We don't work in bananas anymore. We work in metric. So, yeah. So that'll work. See, look, even a bolt like that. That's a high tensile bolt. Then I'll get a high. I think I've got a few of those floating around. A couple of high tensile bolts for the clevis. And I'll do the same with that. I'll drill a hole and weld a spigot in there so that it's not going to wear too quickly. If it's, you know, it might wear overly quickly if I just have the pin pushing on a thin piece of metal. It's going to wear slower if it's pushing on a thing. And yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, people might say, oh, you should stick with it, it'll work. No, it won't. You know, like I said, I've been sort of engineering this as I go, so pneumatics was never my strong point. I did learn a little bit when I was at the meatworks, but you know, I never had a lot to do with pneumatics, so this is all a learning curve for me, and you know, I wouldn't make an engineer's arsehole, so hopefully that'll work. Because see, like I said, that'll be fixed. That'll be upright and welded. Might even see if we get a bit of pipe as a feed channel. Feed into here. Yeah, I think that'll work. Stick around. I mean, tomorrow I'll come back out, take that out of there, put it somewhere, and I'll sit here and mark this. And I might even be able to get the radius tool they've got for the plasma. I never ever used. I've had that for a couple of years and never used it, so I might even be able to give that a go. So anyway, thanks for hanging around. A little bit disappointing, but it is what it is, you know. Like, I mean, it's what the money that it's cost me so far. Like, for what I'm wasting, it's only a little bit of steel. That's fuck all. I'm going to be using all the air fittings. Everything will still be used. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. Thanks for hanging around again, and until the next time, stay safe. Peace.